Humanity has always believed that order requires power, that without leaders, laws, and punishment, society collapses, but nature has never agreed with human logic. Hidden within forests, fields, and gardens across the planet exists a civilization older than any human empire. It has no kings, no armies, no written rules, and yet it works almost perfectly. Today, the Animal World TV invites you to witness one of the most extraordinary systems ever created by evolution. Welcome to the kingdom of bees. Look closely at a beehive. Every cell is a perfect hexagon, not because bees understand geometry, but because nature has tested every possible shape over millennia. The hexagon wastes no space. It uses the least amount of wax to construct. It holds the most honey. There was no grand architect for this masterpiece, no single engineer who drew the plans. Instead, millions of small, instinctive decisions, repeated by countless generations over millions of years, created a state of perfection without conscious intention. This is the unshakable foundation of the bee kingdom. Efficiency above all else. This intricate lattice of wax is not just storage. It is a nursery, a pantry, and the very skeleton of their society, built with a precision that defies simple explanation. We call her the Queen. But the name is profoundly misleading. A human projection of power onto a creature that operates on a different plane of existence. The camera follows the largest bee in the colony, her elongated abdomen a symbol of her unique function. She does not rule. She does not command. She does not decide the fate of her colony through will or decree. Her purpose is singular, biological, and all-consuming: to lay eggs. On a productive day, she can lay up to 2,000, a number that ensures the constant replenishment of the hive's population. The survival of the entire colony depends entirely on her reproductive biology, not on any form of authority. Her body releases chemical signals, pheromones, that act like invisible threads, binding the thousands of individuals into a cohesive, unified whole. They are the scent of order, the language of unity. And when those chemical signals inevitably weaken with age or illness, the workers do not panic. There is no power struggle, no violent coup. They simply begin a quiet, methodical process known as A new queen, raised from a specially chosen larva and fed a rich diet of royal jelly, is prepared to take over. The old one fades away, her purpose fulfilled. There is no revolution, no societal collapse. There is only continuity. A worker bee is female, sterile, and from the moment of her birth, she is destined to serve. She will never reproduce. She will never truly rest. She will never question her role in the vast, complex machinery of the hive. Her life is a meticulously programmed sequence of tasks, dictated by her age and the colony's needs. On days 1 through 3, her first duty is to clean the hexagonal cells from which she and her sisters emerged, preparing them for the next generation. From days 4 to 10, she graduates to the role of a nurse, feeding the hungry larvae with a mixture of pollen and nectar. Between days 11 and 18, special glands on her abdomen activate, allowing her to produce wax, which she uses to build the very walls of her home. Finally, in the last, most perilous phase of her short life, she becomes a forager, venturing outside the safety of the hive to gather the pollen and nectar that sustain everyone. Each phase is dangerous, fraught with risk from predators, weather, and exhaustion. Each phase is absolutely essential. No one tells her what to do. There is no foreman, no manager giving orders. Her body, her very physiology, simply knows what the colony needs most at that exact moment. This is not freedom as humans understand it, but it is perfect order, achieved without force. A single bee is a creature of simple instinct, but together, thousands of bees become a single, intelligent superorganism. This collective intelligence is most astonishingly displayed when the colony must find a new home. When a hive becomes overcrowded, scout bees are dispatched to investigate dozens of potential locations, sometimes miles away. Upon their return, they do not deliver a verbal report. Instead, they perform a complex waggle dance on the surface of the comb. The precise angle of the dance in relation to the sun conveys direction. The duration and intensity of the dance encode information about the distance and quality of the site. Other bees observe and then fly out to investigate the most promising options for themselves. They return and perform their own dances, challenging weak options and reinforcing good ones. Slowly, through this democratic process of debate and verification, a consensus emerges. The colony makes a decision not because one bee leads, or because one voice is loudest, but because the truth of the best option proves itself through collective validation. On the Animal World TV, we see again and again that leadership is not always necessary for wisdom. Sometimes, intelligence is a shared property. This communal peace exists only until the hive is threatened. When a predator, be it a bear, a badger, or a hornet, approaches the hive, the delicate balance is shattered. Guard bees positioned at the entrance release alarm pheromones, a chemical scream for help that ripples through the colony in an instant. The entire hive responds as one. Worker bees pour out, a unified front of defenders. When a bee stings, her barbed stinger catches in the flesh of her enemy. As she pulls away, the stinger tears from her abdomen, taking with it a part of her digestive tract and nerves. Death follows within minutes. There is no bravery here in the human sense. There is no conscious heroism or desire for glory. There is only biology demanding the ultimate sacrifice for the good of the collective. The individual is an expendable resource. The hive survives because individuals do not. The fate of bees is inextricably linked to our own. These tiny insects pollinate more than 2/3 of the crops that humans eat. Fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts. Without bees, the shelves of our supermarkets would become barren. Entire ecosystems dependent on the pollination of native plants would begin to collapse. The vibrant colors of our world would fade, and yet, we poison them. We spray our fields with a class of pesticides called neonicotinoids, nerve agents that disorient bees, making it impossible for them to find their way home. We bulldoze their habitats, replacing meadows and forests with concrete and monoculture crops. We destabilize the climate, disrupting the ancient, synchronized timing between when flowers bloom and when bees emerge. Across the planet, entire colonies are vanishing without explanation in a phenomenon known as colony collapse disorder. A perfect system, honed by millions of years of evolution, is breaking silently under the weight of human activity. Bees do not cry out in pain. They do not protest. They simply disappear. The forages leave the hive and never return. The queen is left with only a few attendants, the nursery empty. The silence they leave behind is a terrifying omen, and when the buzzing finally stops for good, the world will notice far too late. Bees have no kings, yet they thrive in a society of unparalleled cooperation. They have no concept of power or greed, only balance, responsibility, and purpose. Perhaps the most advanced civilization on Earth was never meant to rule over it, but only to exist in perfect, selfless harmony with it. The Animal World TV believes that by understanding nature, we may finally begin to understand ourselves.